If you're watching this video, you may be in this situation. You have inherited a 4D database that's critical to your business. It's been there for years. Nobody knows how to manage it. The person who wrote it isn't around, and you're wondering if you should just rip it out and start over with something more modern. Well, I'm going to suggest some reasons why that might be a really expensive mistake. I'm Kirk Brooks, and I have been a 4D developer working with these systems for over 3 decades. I've seen this story play out, and I've watched companies spend a lot of time and money trying to replace systems that were already doing exactly what they needed. This isn't a pitch for 4D as a platform. Although it is a quite good platform, I think you're here because you already have one. So this is about understanding what you actually have and why the conventional wisdom about legacy systems being bad might not be right in your case. Let me tell you how your 4D system may have come into existence, because the origin story matters. Back in the day, maybe the late 90s or the early 2000s, somebody in your organization had a problem. Could have been a department manager who was drowning in spreadsheets, or perhaps you're a growing business that needed better control over processes. The key point is somebody who wasn't an IT professional but was intelligent, driven, and resourceful, needed to get something done. They chose 4D as the tool because it allowed them to build a real solution to real problems. 4D was the first complete database system that could run on the desktop Mac, though it, of course, was quickly supported by Windows as well. It has a built-in web server, complete programming language, and multi-user capability all in a single package. You could build sophisticated applications without needing a computer science degree or a team of developers, because with 4D, you could do a little bit of a lot of things. However, these initial projects were not usually perfectly designed, but they were flexible. A 4D project designed by a single user could scale up to an entire work group without needing special hardware or complex IT infrastructure. So you could quickly have 2 to 10 people working in a multi-user environment using a desktop computer. This was revolutionary in the 90s. It meant work groups and small businesses could develop their own information systems without dealing with traditional IT overhead. No special hardware, no complex networking, no database administrators, just business people solving business problems. And because they worked, these systems became critical. And then over time, your 4D system wasn't actually just storing data. It was encoding years of business knowledge, specific workflows, and processes that have been refined over time to match exactly how your organization works. But this success created its own challenges. Because these systems were so focused on specific needs, they often lacked the formal structure that professional developers would have built in. Early 4D was optimized for ease of use rather than traditional software engineering principles. The code was tightly coupled to the user interface. This made it difficult for others to understand, modify, or test. As more and more business capabilities were added in, it became increasingly hard to work with the code and a really difficult task to modernize it. And so this brings us to where you probably are now, and that is an inflection point. Something has happened that's forced you to confront the reality of your 4D system. Maybe the original developer left the company. Maybe upper management discovered this critical system and started asking some hard questions about it. Maybe you're facing demands to scale or integrate with other systems and have no idea where to start. Suddenly, an effective business tool has become a source of anxiety. You are looking at this system that everybody depends on, that does exactly what the business needs, but feels like a black box nobody understands. And this is where organizations can make their first mistake. They assume the problem is the platform rather than the situation. And so you start thinking, well, we need to get off of 4D and onto something more modern like Salesforce or NetSuite. We need to move to the next level. But consider this. Your 4D system does things exactly the way your business works. What exactly is on the next level, and do you really need a complete platform change to achieve it? When you move to Salesforce, for example, you're not just moving data, you're forcing your entire organization to change their processes to match how Salesforce thinks business should work. Maybe your 4D app is handling some functionality you actually want to transfer to Salesforce. That doesn't necessarily mean you need to throw out the entire application. Modern 4D excels at communicating and interfacing with pretty much any other platform and service. You already have a tailored solution for what you need to do. Replicating that functionality on another platform, no matter what it is not going to be easy, fast, or inexpensive. I've seen companies spend six figures and months of disruption trying to recreate functionality that was already working perfectly. And in the best case, they wind up with a system that does what they started with, costs more to maintain, and requires their staff to learn entirely new workflows. Faced with that proposition, isn't it worthwhile to spend some time investigating how your 4D app could be updated to meet the needs you have now? Wouldn't a solution preserving your existing workflows while supporting extended services like Salesforce be faster, easier, and generally more preferable than a complete rewrite? When you're evaluating what to do with your 4D system, you need to look at the total cost of ownership. The real cost isn't just the technology, it's the disruption. Every hour your staff spends learning a new system instead of doing their jobs is an hour lost. Every process that has to be re-engineered to fit someone else's idea of how business should work causes you disruption. Every piece of institutional knowledge that gets lost in the translation is gone forever. Yes, but you may be thinking, we don't know where to find a 4D developer. Well, finding 4D developers is harder than finding web developers. But we exist and we're not unicorns. This is actually why a group of us founded Everything 4D, to provide organizations with reliable access to 4D expertise that's not concentrated in a single person. We offer services from training your in-house staff on 4D to ad hoc consulting services when you need specific modifications, to full hosting and development services if you want to completely outsource the technical management. Modern 4D isn't the isolated walled garden system you might think it is. It's REST compatible, can integrate with any web service, connects with other databases, and can be managed with standard IT practices. Your IT team can handle the infrastructure, servers, backups, user management, just like any other system. The 4D specific work, application changes, new features, troubleshooting business logic, that's where you need the specialist. But this is no different from any other customer service. You don't expect your IT team to modify your accounting software or your CRM, do you? No, you call support or contractors for that. So here's the real question. Is your 4D system actually causing problems, or are you just worried about potential problems? If it's running smoothly, if your users are productive, if it's handling your business processes effectively, then the what-if scenarios might be costing you more mental energy than they're worth. Instead of planning an expensive migration based on unknowns, consider a different approach. Have a 4D consultant to do a health check. Document what you have, identify any real risks, and create a plan for ongoing maintenance. You might discover that your legacy system is actually more robust and valuable than you thought. Compare the costs of migration, not just the software licensing, but the full project cost, including lost productivity, retraining, and business disruption, against the cost of properly supporting what you have. Compare the real costs of migration, not just the software licensing, but the full project cost, including the lost productivity, retraining, and business disruption, against the cost of properly supporting what you have. Your 4D system may not be a liability, it's an asset. It represents years of business knowledge, refined processes, and functionality tailored exactly to how your organization runs. That is incredibly valuable. So perhaps the question isn't whether you should keep it, it's whether you're going to manage it strategically or perhaps make an expensive mistake. If you would like to have a serious conversation about your 4D system, I would be happy to have that conversation with you.